Let's start. Okay. GM, everybody. Welcome back to NFC Lisbon. And today we have some cool OGs of the space. Let's start by Angeli. She is inside community management and active online since 1993 or something like that. That's crazy. Tell us
It
more.
is crazy. Yeah, I was like a senior in high school and dialing up to local BBSs in my area. And then we would go and meet up with them, my best friend from high school and I, literally like two 17-year-old girls meeting strangers online and then driving to random places to meet up. And the only thing we all had in common is that we wanted to meet other strangers on the internet. Anyway, so that's what I've been doing for 30 years.
I go by Sweep. I run one of the largest marketing firms in the space with Jeremy. He's my partner. We did most of the deployments for the recent socialifies and farmings and everything. How we view things is we like to take things a notch forward, which is what we get to when we speak about community building. And we actually split this into very specific KPIs, which I think Jeremy would like to give a little bit of an intro. And you got
Yeah, I think I'm Jeremy. First of all, I think we're gonna keep like the intro to the actual questions and everything, but we're also like on the top KOLs and everything. Like I'm top 5 in reach right now, global reach and everything. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, he covered everything for me. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm Dom. My name is Kyriakos, but it's too hard for you guys. It's Greek. But yeah, I'm in the space for quite some time, 5-6 years so far. And now I'm working for AVEX as a community manager there. And yeah, like content, community management, Degen stuff, all that stuff, all crypto.
That's crazy. We miss you.
What's happening, everybody? My name's Chris, aka Super Soze. I've been in the space a long time, building communities, building DAOs, building technology. We do AI creator tools right now. We're building an open marketplace to help content creators build their ecosystems, build their fan base, identify their fan base with data. Yeah, I've run and advised on quite a few projects. So community building is at the core of everything that I actually do. So I'm looking forward to the chat.
Yo, guys, sheesh. These two kids in the front are number 4 top KOL influencer, and you are I forgot. Like,
I mean, last
number
week I
10.
was number 2, but we don't speak about
That's
this
crazy.
week.
They're moving to Dubai. It's like these kids are making a lot of money. This dude is an investor. It's like, sheesh. But yeah, so everyone thinks that creating a community is the hardest part for any project. But having retention and maintain that community is even harder, right? It's a little bit like a token that everyone thinks the TGE is the hardest part, but it's like a pregnancy. You're pregnant until the TGE, and then after the kid is born is the most difficult part. So I want to know from each of you, what's the best strategy you got in the last years to have retention and engage a community?
I mean, I can get right into it on our behalf at least, but as you all know, things change in the space every week. What may have worked last week doesn't work this week, and we need to adapt. And for us, what's working at the moment, we actually use NFTs. Yes, NFTs that are dead. We still use them to build communities. Why? Because whenever we launch a client, we actually do free mint. It's one of the best community building exercises ever. They engage the community, you engage, you do the rewards, you do tasks, and that's sort of the base from there. Jeremy?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I can tell you, like for me and Sweep, for example, we work with like incentive systems for all our projects to actually like build a community and maintain them and make sure they're happy and satisfied with pretty much everything that we do, whether it's, doing it for Socialify and giving them an advantage over other people, giving them multipliers, giving them boost on their farmings and everything, or whether it's giving like any other incentives like tokens or allocations, airdrop, like anything that would incentivize them to actually stay within the community. That's what we do. That's what we work on. And that's like what I think is the best tool to actually use for community building.
Yeah. Something that's really important as well is to have a sort of dynamic community where the people there actually have fun and they have a vision all together, because meta is changing so fast. So it's hard sometimes to capture its sort of new meta. But if you build a strong community of like some group of people have a goal, it can be sitcoins, it can be like make money, and you do that with like, you need a lot of time. Basically, you need to get to know the community, and you need to make sure that community knows each other, so they have fun spending time on your Discord or on your channels. So that's really matters too.
So this is a moving target. I think everyone can kind of agree it's a moving target, just like we all are. But what's been popular recently, I don't know if you guys have been keeping up with what's going on Warpcast, which really, at least for the crypto industry, feels like the very first real contender to Twitter. But the reason people have been there and engagement's been so good and people are so excited about building there is because of DGen token. So tipping, I think, is something that we all need to be thinking about. Being able to give attribution to one another, to be able to give praise to one another, to be able to transact together, because you can use tips as payment, peer-to-peer, among in the community itself within that context. So yeah, it's a moving target. Pros and cons, but right now I would say tipping is kind of like the flavor of the week.
Yeah, I think everything everybody says is really important. I think that you guys can take a lot of nuggets. What I found to be one of the most important ingredients is a symbiotic relationship with your community. So we know there's lots of farmers, a lot of people that want to get value from a project. But you need to encourage the participation for them to actually give their efforts as well. Because if you're only giving away stuff, eventually that's going to run dry and that gimmick is going to get really old and people will go to greener pastures. So I've joined a few communities over the last few years that really, when you step into these communities, you feel like you need to give value. And that's at the forefront. And so if everybody's giving value, all of a sudden you're receiving value all over the place. And it just goes back to the original OG Bitcoin. There's an incentive system there that works. It's scalable and it keeps on going over time. And so that's what we found. The best communities that I've found and that we're building are ones that are symbiotic. So they're giving value to get value, and you continue to make that game theory so you can encourage that participation. But everything they said is all vital, using the right platforms, Discord, Telegram, using them to your advantage in the right ways. Yeah, just throwing in those DJ things, leveraging Web3 technologies for tipping or NFTs and figuring out what really makes sense for the community. Yeah, those are some of the things. But I mean, it goes for miles. We can talk on this subject for like 14 years straight, So, but
Totally.
Yeah, all of this was pretty good though.
I totally agree. And this is kind of the secret sauce about community management, because there is a little bit of truth in anything that you have been said. Like, a community is like a blob, so your target is always moving. It's not always about only giveaways, but also making strong connections inside the community as well, and then leveraging multiple things and be giving first to the community, not expecting them to give you first something is fundamental. And this is triggering the next question. So since you know what to do with your community, I think you have been through a lot of, you have a track record, each one of you in your career, of bad moments in communities. So what was the most challenging moment for you in a community, like people spreading bad feedbacks? How do you manage that? And what's the biggest challenge you have faced?
I'll quickly take this. When I got into Web3, I came from Thailand and I was a kickboxer. So like my resume to build communities and be in tech was horrible. And so people would call me out on Telegram, and I'm the CEO of this new AI tech company back in 2017. And I had to fight back, I was just fighting on the keyboard, and my team was saying, don't feed the trolls. I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? And I couldn't help it. So I think you need to employ like real good patience and really good communications when shit does go wrong. People are calling you out. Is part of the game. And a lot of times I've found that when people are calling you out, sometimes it's because they don't speak English very well. And if you're really polite and nice to them, then you figure out that's not actually what they were saying. They weren't calling you names. They were actually just trying to get information and they didn't know how to do it. So, yeah.
Communication. So that's the biggest challenge for you so far.
Yeah, I would definitely say when you do have upheaval or there are some people causing controversy, that happens in every single community since the beginning of time. So I would say that is probably the biggest challenge in trying to direct everybody's attention a different way. But what I've discovered over all different types of communities, online communities that I've been in over the years, which is just be honest, because it just keeps feeding if you keep trying to maintain some kind of story or like look like you're in the best positive light, because we're all human beings and people can smell bullshit. And if you want to get out of something and even get out of it even stronger, it would be for management or the project owners, like when they do start seeing that kind of discontent, to address it head on with honesty.
I mean, I look at it in a few ways. I think all feedback is constructive. Of course, in any project, even the best ones out there, there's always going to be some people that are fighting or aren't satisfied. But at the end, the number one key is transparency and making sure that you communicate with your community. So whether it's spaces, which we find the best way is actually getting the founders on a space, or to our clients, we advise them, look, get on spaces, answer all the questions and get engaged. Because as a founder, you're very, very actively involved in your project. And to the community, even though you're working, it's not something that they're aware of. So get out there, be present, have your networks, do everything that you can so they know that you're working for their bag. And that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I mean, I think what everybody said is like 100% crucial. And I think the best, like, let's call it advice that I could give everybody is just like that there is a big difference between spreading FUD and spreading constructive criticism. And you need to learn how to take each one of them, because there are like good criticism and it doesn't have to be like a bad thing. There are some things that you can definitely like ignore, like, what the fuck are you talking about? Or this is bullshit and anything. You can just like ignore those haters. But there are like things that our community is going to give you, like feedback that they actually want to see you implement, that they want to see you listen to them and everything. That's something you got to take to the heart and actually implement onto the project, instead of just looking at it as if they are spreading FUD or just hating or whatever, because that's not the case, at least not for the most part. That's like the most important thing in my opinion.
Yeah, there's little to say now, guys. Thank you. But yeah, like, but communication is key. Like community communication, like you've said it before, it's like marriage, right? Like you need to be true, you need to be honest, and need to face stuff. You know, there's criticisms for some reason, something is not right. And if you're honest and you be like, okay, guys, let's work on this together, you kind of, you're always going to have those haters. You're always going to have the fudders. But you can use that to just slowly build it up. And another thing you can do is, like, most of the times when shit hit the fan, you can use that negativity to create a new narrative. So you can always be like a bit creative and adjustable and use that FUD to boost your community even further. You know, like on Bitcoin, there's this send it to zero thing. You know, everyone's saying just send it to zero, and it keeps pumping, and it's just funny, you know, and people love that.
So I don't know if anybody, I mean, I remember that because I made a tweet about it like a year and a half ago, like about Frank D Gods, because he was like the main guy who was doing like the shit I said, because he was getting a lot of FUD on D Gods and Newts and everything, and instead of taking it to the heart, he would just like meme it or just make jokes about it with his community, and they would just laugh about it and just grow together around that FUD. And I think that's like a really cool tool and a really good way to actually deal with that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I think Frank D Gods is a good example because he was very, very, he's very accountable. And I think that's really, really important. And he says with this accountability, I understand where I went wrong. I hear what all of you guys are saying, right? That diffuses everything. If you tell them like, listen, I see it, I know it, I'm repeating what you guys are telling me. And then the next time he corrects that path. I think an important thing too, no announcements of an announcement. It's not super big grand. It's way, way better. It's cliche saying, but under promise and over deliver. But I find everything in Web3 is way over promise, and it's just, you know. So yeah, Frank D Gods, that's a good example.
I love these Digital Insights. I was actually speaking with Frank in New York. There was like a Magic Eden boat cruise, something like that. And he was like, you shouldn't be sad about criticism or FUD. You should be inspired, because he said once that there is no track record in Web3, especially in community building, community management. And so you don't have a playbook. And whatever people tell you, you should be inspired from and take it on your advantage. So I totally agree with you guys. This is like a super Degen approach, and that's the right way. And this is triggering in me another question. So since now you can not only use your capacities to manage a community, but in the next few years, let's say 5 years, there will be some advance in the technology, especially with AI. Do you think that community management will change, and how new technology will improve community management?
Yeah, I've been thinking about this a lot, and I'm excited about it because instead of one moderator having to be some completely overloaded, like, can you think like there could be an opportunity to have AI mods that you can put your really what you're trying to do with your community and like the emotions and the vibes you're trying to foster, and like have AI bots that can do that for everyone. I think it'll be a much improved experience. And also burnout and the opportunity for people to come up with new ideas, they're very limited because it's such a drain to manage communities. It is not glamorous at all. It's a glamorous word, and it's definitely the word of crypto. But the work itself is extremely grueling at times. So I'm really excited about AI as an opportunity. And I think even your own AI agent can join like different DAOs and join different communities on your behalf, because how hard is it to keep up with all the different communities? Like, it's just not possible. So if you had an AI agent doing that for you, oh, it's like having multiple lives.
Yeah, we're building an open AI marketplace for content creator tools. So the speed of how this is deployed is really based on what kids are building and putting in the system. You build an algorithm that maybe edits a video or creates tweets or does moderation in your Discord, and you attach a wallet to it. And more people that buy that service, the more coins or whatever we transact in, you get. So I can't predict the speed of where this will go, but I think an open, decentralized marketplace for people with a Wi-Fi signal and a computer to upload their services without any intermediators and see what happens. You have a rating system if it works for, and the total addressable market is in the billions. Everybody's a content creator, even if you're just a community member that's just commenting or liking stuff. So I don't know how fast it will advance, but when you think about these kids in their mom's basement building cool, wacky stuff, they're 17, they love development, they put this on, that could be the next big thing. And I think that will get the exponential growth. And I mean, it's not just the kids in the basement. AI has exponential growth right now. So I'm looking forward to it. I've been in the space a long time, but creating open environments for people to play around and experiment, I think, is where you'll find the biggest next trends. Wherever there's problems, these kids that are building this tech, they're going to find them. You know, we'll start with a few services first, then open it up for anybody to put their AI services. If it's a hit, you're making money while you sleep, and that's the goal.
I'm all in for AI. I think on some level, though, it's not something that will replace a human being, especially when it comes to community building. And this is why, because all of the creators and most of the people that are famous, they have a personality. I know on some level AI can replicate it, but it's never going to get that same feeling. And being in a space where it's all about VCs, investments, growth, and so on, you really want to trust in the founder. And I personally wouldn't be comfortable challenging against an AI for actual funds related or future of ecosystems. Yes, it's going to automate a lot of tasks. Like we said, the things that would cost you a lot of time to automate, these could be automated, which is perfect. And then would give founders more time to express themselves, do the content that they prefer. But again, I think we are a little bit too early to say that it would be a complete replacement, but it's definitely a good tool in helping us manage and grow quickly.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say literally the exact same thing, because like, I mean, yeah, AI could help with like documentations or organizations or like, you know, just doing the chores that you really don't want to do and doesn't require personality. But like AI couldn't just walk here right now, just take picture with people, just like connect with people, make networks, talk, like make those conversations, like talk on this fucking stage. Like AI can't do that stuff. And that's like the personal touch that everybody needs. Like whether you're a content creator, a KOL, founder, like you're a builder, whatever you are, you need that personal touch 100%.
I don't want to join that fight between AI good or bad. But yeah, like I think you guys have a valid point about it's going to save a lot of money and a lot of time. I do agree with these guys that it's also not so personal. Yes, no, I just said you're both right. But something else we kind of, I think, and we're going to see in the future is like, right now we need more CRM tools. We need better tools to track data. Like, and it's hard because the data is all over the place. It's on chain, off chain, on socials, on Discord, on Telegram. It's really hard to track all that data. And I think we're gonna see in the next 5 years some big pushes towards that, towards fostering the data and just make sure we can take full advantage of that data.
That's actually super interesting because everyone thought about AI, but there are also other technologies improvement that are, changing radically how we get all those data. Because at the moment we are not managing that as very well. And I totally agree with you. AI is the next big thing. I super agree with you guys. Having a moderator like a bot, but an intelligent bot that you can have actually a conversation with, it's super time saving and also mental health saving. Sometimes it's physically impossible to manage everyone, and it's super interesting to know these from you, from your insights. In these days, like yesterday during the speaker dinner, but also today, I met a couple of people telling me, okay, I'm new to the market and I would like to join. I want to start like a startup or join a project, and I love community, and where shall I start? They ask me these things because I manage multiple communities, I make them collaborate, and I didn't really have a secret pill for them. But what about you guys? If you need to have a suggestion to someone who's starting now, what's your suggestion?
100%. So I think the best case scenario for everybody looking to start, whether you're looking to start as a content creator, again, it literally doesn't matter what you're trying to do. I think the best way to start is just start to build a social media presence, start getting your name out there, start engaging with the community, become a part of this actual community. Don't just be like a guy or a random person who is an outsider. You don't want to do that. Like, we are both known for, we have like what, 400,000 replies each on our pages because we engage with our communities all day, every day. And that's what people recognize us from, because we're just showing our faces and our profile pictures literally anywhere and everywhere. And anyone can do that. I mean, nobody's like, that doesn't take resources. It doesn't take skill, really. I mean, you just get, no, I mean, everybody can do that, really. It's not limited to anybody, like anybody, it's accessible to like anybody and everybody, you know what I mean? It's like, so what I'm saying is like, everybody should get onto, everybody should become some sort of a social media guy, get a social media presence, start marketing yourself out there, whatever it is you're doing, start pushing it out there. And it's really just that simple because you can just start, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's a social media platform. Why? Because we're supposed to socialize. You need to get out there. You need to put in these replies. One of the best growth sort of directions that we ever had was actually giving support and getting it back. That's what we both have, around 400K replies. And it's nothing but honest work and doing it more and more and more. But wait time it catches. There's a very famous saying that your network is your net worth. And I think in this space, especially being this early, it's all about this. Why? Because, for example, when we're hiring clients or when we're hiring people for our firms, it would be basically impossible to find experienced people on this sort of level outside, not on LinkedIn, not on anywhere. But because our communities are disoriented and this focus on Web3, whatever we post for hiring, say I wanted to get a film crew in Lisbon that has some experience with crypto, I could do that. Why? Because we have a big following, we have these connections in. Also, when you do things as a founder, people invest in known founders. People want to trust and invest in the people that they know. And that's why you saw this whole bear market. There was very successful launches, but they were run by very successful people. So again, you need to get out there on some level. You need to show that you have presence. And I think in the long run, this will pay out very, very big for all of you, because it's a very, very good network and it's the best key asset that you can have.
I've forgotten what the question was now. How people should start. Okay, well, I guess I'll keep it kind of timely right now, which is the way to do it now is really around a meme. What we've learned about this cycle is that storytelling is back and art is back, even if it's just one piece, one image, rather than, PFP and 10,000 of them. But it's like, all the meme coins, people are still looking at the picture. So art is back, but also storytelling. And so if you can think of this in terms of like capturing attention, and once you capture attention, then you can kind of feed them the vegetable of what else you've got going on. So for the moment, at the moment, I would say memes are doing an amazing job. And I'll say that because from Collabland, I'll tell you, a lot of our new communities are meme communities, meme token communities. And the best part of meme tokens is it's cheap to get in. It's not like NFTs. And you can own 1 or own 50 or own 500 million, whatever. But like everyone has an opportunity here, and I think it's super awesome.
Yeah, these boys hit it you need to get into a community, right? If you're already an entrepreneur and you've done a startup, then go do what you do. But the best way, if you guys want to get in and get experience, join a community that you really love and dedicate yourself to it. You will be noticed. Over the last 7 years, I've never hired on LinkedIn or anything. It's only my communities that we bring on board. We figure out incentive systems to get them to do stuff, and we find everything in our communities, absolutely everything. And some of the people in our communities have gone on to have startups that they've made literally hundreds of millions, 17-year-old kids that were in our community. Then they learn what it takes to build communities, build the technology. They're also devs, they're helping us a bit, and then they launch their own thing. Go into these communities, you'll find a lot of people that support you. The more you do in those communities, the more fans you'll get within those communities, and the team will always find you guys, because we scale, and we scale with our communities. And like these guys said, you do not want to hire outside of Web3. It is the most horrible experience you'll ever have. People don't get it, even if they say they get it. And the people that get your project get you more than anybody else. So having that community feedback. So if they join something that they love, that they like, and then, take it a little bit further.
I really like the dynamic of the stage. It's like 2 marketing guys and 2 community managers, and I really loved it. But you're both right. You need noise, right? You talked about that, but I really agree with you, Chris. Like, you just need to start from somewhere. Like you've said it as well. Like, find a community you like and just go for it. I've been advising many people who joined the space in the last couple of years about. They ask me, what do I do next? Like, how do I start making money off crypto? Maybe I'm not a good trader. How can I find a job? It's that simple. Just go on a piece of go somewhere and become a mod. Like, be active, and people are going to pay for you. Like, they see the value, right? And this is the cool part about crypto and decentralization. You just work in nomads, and then you get your way. You meet more people, you meet with other circles, and that's it. That's the whole beauty of the space.
I just wanted to say, because I get a lot of DMs about that as well, like people asking me, how can I start, or should I start, if I should start? And people always have concerns, like they see people with tens of thousands of followers or even hundreds of thousands of followers, and they're like, I can't compete, or I can't get to Dawe levels. And that's something that everybody got to realize, that everybody started from the same place. Everybody started from nothing. Everybody came from 0 followers, at least 99% of the people. Like, I started from 0 at 2.5, 3 years ago. Now I'm sitting at 100,000 followers. So did he. So did literally everybody here who has a following. You can just start up, and eventually you're gonna grow, you're gonna achieve whatever it is you're looking for. You don't get intimidated by seeing big numbers from other people, because you can do that too. They're no different than you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I just wanted to add on to what you said. Basically, you really need to find a community that you can call home. This space is super confusing. Hell, we've been at it 24/7 for the last 5 years. And every day I have a moment and like, what the fuck? What is this? How did I not know this? And we're constantly building. And for this, that's why we have these communities. So whenever we hit an obstacle, I don't need to do my whole research again. I have people that I trust that can help me. Even if I don't know someone, they can help me. And that's why you need to get into one place, get a core team of people that are like you, in the same mindset and that you trust. And from there, it's a lot easier. It's not supposed to be alone, but rather a community building exercise. And it's what we're doing here.
And at the end of the day, you need to be a people's person, right? You need to enjoy talking to people. I don't know if you guys were around at that time. I think Toads was one of the first projects that proposed this idea of 0 promises and just go with the community. And the community manager there was Motive. I don't know if you guys know him. He's not big on Twitter, but to this day, I haven't seen any better community manager than this guy. So if you want to take something out of this, go to the Discord and see what he did 2-3 years ago. He was every day so active on community. He knew every single person by heart, and he was just speaking to their heart. You need to spend time to that.
I love this because it means that if you feed your community with the right inputs, then automatically the community doesn't only give you back what it wants, but it kind of manage itself on its own. So the community members become part of the management as well. And this is really interesting. Actually, I have 13 employees and they're all from the community. I never hired anyone from LinkedIn either. So I don't.
We have 70 employees. They are all from the community. Yeah.
You see, that's crazy. This is Web3. I love it. So, Dejan, I would like to wrap up, but before, I would like to ask to the public if anyone has a question.
Hi guys. First of all, thanks a lot for the inputs and insights. Really, really interesting. I'm Philippe. I'm building a community management tool. And I'm very interested to hear your insights on something that all of you touched at some point, which is incentive mechanisms. Right. And I'm curious to hear your thoughts on, even if a practical example on how you build and design incentive mechanisms that kind of help bootstrap and keep a community.
We said that 4 times today. You want to go on?
So if any of you are familiar with Socialfy, I think it's one of the best marketing KPIs or incentive systems to ever come across in the world. Why? Because this system is so dynamic and to a point that it makes sense for no matter who you are. Why? Because bigger pages, they get rewarded more. Why? Because they generate more traffic, and smaller communities, they make less. But at the end of the day, if you're putting in the same amount of work, you can still hit these levels. Now, when we speak about incentives, it's not just about saying, yes, I'll allocate a 1 million USD pool and call it a day. Incentive systems, they're here so you can build a sustainable ecosystem that's not just for pump and dump or just not for a one-day campaign, but when you think in the future, and how we can self-sustain it. So that's why you see a lot of these meme coins, a lot of these communities that have these cool functions like buybacks, burns. These are incentive systems that are constant and will never leave. And that's how you build these communities. Now, talking a little bit more directly to how you can inventarize these people. I'll give you an example to everybody here. We are doing a Socialfy for a casino. It's just a very good example. And we thought about how can we inventarize these people to earn as much as they can through a casino that's still a very degen system. But we let these people have sort of more of a governance in it. So it is, we said a few things. One, we do a Socialfy campaign. You guys know what it is. And what we do is we don't just let them liquidate for tokens. We let them liquidate into casino balance. And this is a very good incentive system. Why? Because we were competing with other big casinos. And if we want to overtake market cap, we need to bring in inflow and volume from countries that wouldn't necessarily have it. And that's how we can get these like people from third world countries to invest and play in the casino through a system that's they basically reward us socially. So instead of me paying for marketing efforts, I have somebody that's grinding his ass off and then he's earning in the casino system. And we have so many ways that we can all go with. But at the end of the day, these incentive systems, they're here to last. And it just has to be something that's self-sustaining and dynamic. You need to know what works for you. So whether you're doing a collab sort of direction, you need to think of an incentive system that can be integrated to any project. So any project suddenly would want to activate it. You need to give incentive to the founders. You need to give incentive to the community members. It needs to be something that makes sense for everybody. So that's what we do. For example, the KOLs for the Socialfy, we give them multipliers because for them it makes more sense. For the founders that will promote the casino futures platform, we're giving them their own custom link with their own bots, with their referral system. That's how we look at incentive systems, but that's pretty much it on my side.
I mean, I can just add on to that a little bit. I mean, we can also, you know, when you talk about incentives, they can also be pretty much anything that you have within your ecosystem. Even if you have like a big community around you, even if it's just like a tight community, let's say you have 200, 300 members, you just want to grow on that, you want to get more people in, you can reach out to people, tell them, look, if you tweet about us, if you make a post, like a supportive post, we'll raid you with our community. And suddenly it's just the engagement incentive. Like people at the end of the day, we're on a social platform. Everybody is just looking to get likes and comments and retweets. Like they don't care about anything else besides that and money. Like we can reach out to KOLs or to just like content creators and everything and tell them, look, we want to partner up with you. We'll raid you. We'll get your post to like 500, maybe 1,000 likes. And they'll be on board because everybody's looking for that specific thing.
I'll cut you off just for one moment, but that's exactly what meme coins are doing. All these shields, all these raids, that's the best community building exercise. And it's an incentive for KOLs. So I had partnerships with everyone like Bonk, all the big meme coins. Like we've worked with them, we did posts for them. But how did we do it? No, I did not ask for a payment. But I want to grow as an influencer, my community. So they do a shield, they rate us, and that's a win-win. And that's the incentive system that it's becoming to be. You guys have anything to add?
I just wanted to get back to his comment about, I'm assuming you're talking about within the context of a community. Yeah. So again, I'm going to go back to the Warpcast example right now, because what they have cultivated is more of a culture. And of course, some people are going to argue the other way. A culture of tipping, which is more like showing appreciation for one another. And so if anyone casted something, you could put like, because it's happened to me, like 10 degen, 25 degen, like you could put a tip on the bottom of people's posts. And so, and the more that you tip out, like you get in terms of points that turned into tokens. So it's like, that's been really cool, because after seeing that, it's like tipping as appreciation, tipping as a way for your community to kind of like reward each other and kind of build good vibes. So many other tipping tokens have come out of that on Warpcast. And so, and there's actually a video app called Dracula that you can also leave tips on. So it's just, I'm seeing what's going on over there, and they just raised $150 million. I do not have a dog in that fight. It's not a shill at all, but I'm just saying, like, let's see what's going on there. I think it would behoove us to see what's going on there, because they did just raise $150 million.
To try to answer your question, like every platform is different, right? If we're doing SocialFi casinos, or we're doing what the other speakers are doing, it's really based on your platform. So you need to really dig deep into what you're building, why you're building it, what the next stages of the build are, and then try to figure out who are my user base and how do I create the dynamics of incentives that make sense, that symbiotic relationship where they feel they have to put in to get out. So you just have to dig deep. So it's a really hard thing without knowing what you're building. We have examples here of like how they do these things, but yeah, the examples are good because you can do these things and it's not one size fits all. Tipping would be great in some context, but you can look at other platforms too. So if we take Web3 out, there's still some Web2 stuff out there, believe it or not. That's pretty cool. Sorry, I'm the biggest degen here, right? But I'm looking at things like Discord. Discord have all of these things as well to incentivize participants in creating open environments for people to build bots and these types of things. So you just have to figure out what you're building, what you want to get out of that, where you see yourself in 5 years, and then you can kind of put these things together. And obviously Web3 is the way to go. So incorporating any kind of Web3 tooling, I think Web3 will no longer be called Web3 in 3 years from now because it will just be the internet. You know, we never said Web2 before Web3 was here. So the only time Web3 is going to come back is when we're building Web4. So yeah, building these tools in now are going to be commonplace in 3 years. And if you incorporate these things wisely and smartly, it's the best incentive system ever.
I want to give just one example, and it's a really good advice for when it comes to incentives. So incentives usually want to make it make sense for every party that's involved. And to do this correctly and involving communities, you need to make sort of a risk-free incentive system. And I'll give you an example just to get like your mind going around this. But you've seen Blast, for example. Blast or other blockchains, they have staking systems. And I'll tell you a very good incentive system that feeds both them and both the project founders. So they're staking. What you can do is 100% refundable mint or refundable pre-sale and earn together with your community. So you raise money, you stake it, and then everything is redeployed back into LP. That's how you do these things risk-free completely. Why? You're leveraging an ecosystem that's already there. You're just thinking of an idea, but you're transparent with your community. You're saying, yes, I'll earn the most because I do the raising, but together as a community, we'll make the most. And that's how you saw all these big farmers doing huge like free mint collections. They earn a lot, they stack up in fees, and everybody wins. That's the best sort of incentive systems. That's why like SocialFi as well is risk-free. With KOLs, again, it's risk-free, zero cost, you do a raid. That's how we view these things, and that's what I believe will work best.
So many good points. We talk about incentives. As you can see, all incentives are monetary. So this is an issue because in order to have, like, you need to see at your problem in two ways. It's acquisition and retention. So when it comes to community, you need to get people in and then you need to retain them. So the question is, when do you use incentives? Do you use to onboard people or do you use to retain them? And if you use to retain them, the question is really hard because you need to find a sustainable way, a system where you don't lose in crazy amount of money that you cannot sustain your project. And then people are gaining monetary value and then they come back. So if you ask this question, it's really hard for me to, we need to sit down on a table and figure out some strategies for 2-3 hours. But I do think like incentives, monetary incentives, you can use them to onboard people. You see, there's some bots out there that you have the games. You have some little games. You get some roles, and then with the roles, you can go and buy something. You can buy a whitelist or something. These are all good little short-term plays. But to me, it's really hard to answer that question about a long-term plan of But I would really like to chat about that because I know we need to wrap up soon.
Thank you so much. I want to give a very loud applause to these legends because they gave us such great insights. Thank you so much, guys, for having us.